As the year-end holiday season brings a buzz of excitement, preparations for the seventh Starship flight are advancing at full speed. Soon we'll witness the highly anticipated fiery debut of Starship version 2. Welcome to today's episode of Alpha Tech, where we explore the latest updates. With Starship Flight 7 tentatively scheduled for January 2025, SpaceX has officially kicked off its pre-flight testing campaign. On the evening of December 5th, Booster 14, the first stage rocket booster designated for this mission, was carefully transported from Mega Bay to the Starbase launch complex. Even in the cover of nighttime fog, the booster's colossal size and intricate design were impossible to miss. Its polished surface shimmered faintly in the subdued light, a testament to the precision and craftsmanship behind its construction. By the early hours of December the 6th, Booster 14 was securely positioned on the launch pad. Despite scaffolding still surrounding parts of the pad, the booster was swiftly lifted into place, defying earlier predictions that ongoing pad refinements would delay its placement. This milestone underscores SpaceX's relentless drive to push forward and deliver another groundbreaking mission. It's expected that the scaffolding will be removed before any major tests are conducted. Confirming this milestone, SpaceX shared on its X account, Flight 7 Super Heavy Booster moved to the pad at Starbase for testing. Before proceeding with a static fire test, SpaceX conducted a spin prime test on December 7th. This test involves spinning the turbopumps of a single engine, mimicking the ignition sequence without actual combustion. The process requires loading the vehicle with liquid oxygen and methane to simulate conditions during engine startup. These tests provide critical data on engine behavior in the startup sequence without risking ignition-related issues. The following day, December 8th, workers meticulously inspected Booster 14, likely assessing its structural integrity following the spin prime test. If the assessment results are positive, a static fire test involving all 33 engines could occur as early as Monday, according to pre-announced road closures scheduled from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. During the static fire test, Booster 14 will be partially fueled, and all 33 engines will ignite simultaneously for a brief duration, typically 2 to 3 seconds. Since SpaceX's launch site lacks a flame diverter, such tests are intentionally short to minimize risks like debris damage. These tests are crucial as they allow engineers to evaluate engine performance under real firing conditions. Any engines displaying non-nominal data will likely be replaced before another static fire attempt. A successful static fire test is the final major milestone on the vehicle side before a launch attempt. Given the efficiency of SpaceX's testing operations, the tentative January 11th, 2025, launch date seems achievable. Some enthusiasts speculate about a surprise Christmas Day launch, though this remains uncertain. What do you think? Could SpaceX give us the ultimate holiday gift? Share your thoughts in the comments section down below. Meanwhile, progress on Starship's second stage continues at a rapid pace. Starship V2, specifically Ship 33, remains stationed in Mega Bay 2. Following its cryogenic proof test, it is expected to undergo an engine test at Massey Outpost soon before being stacked with Booster 14 at the launch site. Exciting developments also include the payload section of Starship 35, which entered High Bay on December 7. This marks the start of its assembly for the Starship Flight 9 mission, further showcasing SpaceX's ability to prepare multiple vehicles simultaneously. The exact launch date for Flight 7 remains uncertain due to two key factors. First, SpaceX has demonstrated a willingness to modify its procedures, as seen during Starship Flight 6. For that mission, Booster 13 skipped the traditional spin prime test and went straight to its first static fire on October 24th, just 4 weeks before launch. The pre-launch timeline was unprecedentedly compressed, with full stacking completed only 3 days before launch. Even the flight termination system was installed ahead of the wet dress rehearsal, breaking from established norms. This indicates that SpaceX is experimenting with its processes, making future timelines harder to predict. The second factor is the lack of a formal response from the FAA regarding NASA's request for a Starship launch date submitted in late November. This regulatory uncertainty adds another layer of complexity to the launch schedule. Despite these challenges, Starship Flight 7 promises to be a landmark mission. It will feature an upgraded version of Starship's second stage, including redesigned fins, larger tanks, improved heat shields, and other enhancements to address issues seen in earlier flights. The new fins, for example, aim to mitigate the atmospheric re-entry burns that plagued previous designs. Flight 7 will also likely test upper stage recovery hardware. If successful, this could pave the way for Flight 8 to include SpaceX's first attempt to capture the upper stage with the launch tower. Similarly, perfecting the booster tower catch mechanism remains a high priority. This step, omitted during Flight 6 due to hardware issues, will be critical for future Starship missions. As SpaceX refines its Starship program, these tests and upgrades underscore the company's commitment to pushing the boundaries of space exploration. Each mission not only brings us closer to routine space travel, but also cements SpaceX's role as a leader in the aerospace industry. What are your thoughts on the rapid pace of Starship's development? Do you think SpaceX will meet the ambitious timelines it has set? As always, please let me know in the comment section down below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on all things SpaceX. In other news, a significant milestone has been reached for the European rocket industry. On December 5th, the Vega C rocket successfully launched an Earth observation satellite, marking its triumphant return to flight nearly 2 years after a major failure. This success represents a crucial step forward for European space endeavors. The launch, initially scheduled for December 4th, was delayed by a day due to an issue with the mobile launch gantry at the pad. The rocket's 3 solid-fuel lower stages performed flawlessly, followed by 3 burns from the liquid propellant AVUM plus upper stage. Approximately an hour and 45 minutes after liftoff, the rocket deployed its payload, the Sentinel-1C satellite, into orbit. This mission marked Vega C's first flight since its December 2022 failure, which destroyed 2 Pleiades NEO imaging satellites. The incident was traced to a flaw in the nozzle of the Zefiro 40 motor, part of the rocket's second stage. Avio, the rocket's prime contractor, initially replaced the nozzle's carbon-carbon material, but encountered another failure during a June 2023 static fire test. This setback prompted a complete redesign of the nozzle. After successful static fire tests in May and October, confidence in the redesigned motor was restored, and it performed as expected during this mission. The payload, Sentinel-1C, is a radar imaging satellite developed by Thales Alenia Space for the Copernicus program, an Earth observation initiative managed by the European Space Agency and the European Commission. Sentinel-1C replaces Sentinel-1B, which malfunctioned in orbit nearly 3 years ago. In addition to supporting environmental monitoring, the satellite features an automatic identification system receiver to track maritime traffic, enhancing its capabilities. ESA Director General Josef Aschbacher celebrated the launch, stating, "One moment combined 2 great European achievements today, the 3rd launch of a Sentinel-1 satellite and the 3rd launch of Vega C, marking a triumphant return to form for both flagship European projects." The successful return of Vega C is particularly significant given the challenges faced by Europe's launch capabilities. The previous Vega C failure, the retirement of Ariane 5, and delays in introducing Ariane 6 contributed to what Aschbacher described as a launcher crisis. This forced ESA and the European Union to rely on SpaceX's Falcon 9 for critical science and navigation missions. Today's launch marks a crucial step forward, reaffirming European independent access to space, said Tony Tolker-Nielsen, ESA Director of Space Transportation. With Vega C back in flight in the inaugural launch of Ariane 6 in July, we are in a great place going forward. Looking ahead, 4 Vega C launches are planned for 2025. This transition period will see Avio fully assume responsibility for the rocket's launch services, taking over from Arianespace. Avio has already begun managing sales and marketing for Vega C. With Vega C, we are ready to deliver our customers' payloads to orbit with a scheduled increase in launch cadence for the upcoming years, said Giulio Ranzo, Avio's chief executive. ESA and its partners are doubling down on efforts to accelerate the flight rate of the Ariane 6 rocket, which successfully completed its maiden launch earlier this year despite encountering a minor upper stage malfunction during an orbital burn. The next Ariane 6 mission, originally slated for late this year, has been rescheduled for mid-February. Arianespace has reassured stakeholders that this adjustment will not impact the timeline for subsequent launches. with 6 Ariane 6 missions planned for 2025. While these developments mark progress, Europe's launch cadence still lags behind the industry leader, SpaceX. To date, SpaceX has accomplished an impressive milestone of over 120 launches this year, utilizing its Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy rockets. Even so, the successful return of Vega C and the planned ramp-up of Ariane 6 launches represent a resurgence of momentum in European space exploration. These milestones pave the way for greater autonomy and innovation in the coming years, solidifying Europe's role as a formidable contender in the competitive space industry. That's all for today. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you again next time.